Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anuj Gupta, president of Sudeva Delhi Football Club, and also the president of Delhi Soccer Association, which is the parent football body in Delhi.
Thank you for taking out the time and speaking to us, sir. Of course, for people who are viewing this, there's been a news that recently the AIFF has, parted ways with the Indian coach Igor Stamak. So first things first, sir, what we want to ask you is that, according to you, do you think it was a correct move by the AIFF to fire the coach, just after a controversial loss against Qatar? Do you think that has something to do with this decision of parting ways, or do you think so it was the coach's fault, or what's your take on it?
Looking at only a football perspective, I feel that it was the right decision because, end of the day, we lost to Qatar. That is what it is. I agree that it was controversial. That goal shouldn't have been given. That is for sure. And for that, AIFF has filed a complaint at the FIFA level. That has been, they've already informed. But as we all know, that the result has already happened, and we have not qualified for the third round. Which means, plus, if you see, we played 2 matches against Afghanistan, and we only got 1 point out of the 6 points. So we, from that perspective, we understand that beating Qatar would have been a major upset, right? But losing to teams like Afghanistan is not meant for. So from the federation point, they had no other option but to take him out, because whoever they get now, he'll have to focus with the boys and work with them for a couple of years, so that then again the World Cup qualifiers will start. Again the important matches will start again. So he will have time to take the team to that level where the same scenario will happen. Whether the new coach will be able to deliver or not, that time will tell. But the timing of taking him out was right.
Understood, sir. Moving ahead, sir, recently he gave a virtual press con, and there were quite a few things that he claimed in his press con. So, there were bold claims made by him on AIFF that, there's people working in the AIFF body, who just work for their personal interest. And within our country, there's, no one who actually wants football to grow, especially, throwing claims on AIFF. So, would you have anything to say about that?
Well, I have one thing I have realized, that whenever there is a foreign coach who is handling, whether as a head coach of the country, or a lot of time these foreign coaches are handling the club competitions, clubs, and if they are taken out, it's not that they have resigned. If they are sacked for whatever reason, their first implication is on the club or the body who has taken them as a head coach, and they will put all these allegations. He's been there for over 5 years. There's hardly any allegations which has been put by him at this level. So it's not that suddenly he's sacked and he starts talking about he had to put 2 stints in his heart in the 2023. I think that's also he's mentioned that does it mean that he went through so much of stress that he had to do that? His body was not able to take it. So I mean, then talking about that there is no one in the federation who knows football, or it's like a prison, or things are not going the right way. I mean, these are all statements which are, according to me, baseless. Because end of the day, when you lose, first thing is that you blame, right? So this is right now is blaming the system. But according to me, his performance was not accepted, because this was the closest and the best chance we had to qualify for the third round. And if you would have qualified for the third round, Indian football would have saved minimum 4 to 6 years of their dreams of qualifying for the World Cup, right? Because look at the teams we had, right? We had beaten Kuwait. That was a great victory, and I give full credit to him. But then teams like Afghanistan, where we are already up and then we lose on our ground, and then this debacle happening. So, but that is football, so according to me, any form of blames cannot be one-sided. Both sides has to be heard. Then only a gist can be taken. But end of the day, the performance, was not up to the mark, because see, a lot of money is spent on not only the head coaches but the team with the head coaches. And when a lot of money is spent, they expect at least victories over countries like Afghanistan. Even in his regime, we also drew with Bangladesh in the World Cup qualifiers. Before the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, that was 1-1 against Bangladesh. So when if we are not able to, which means that if it's not the fault of head coach, then it means that the system is not growing as per the other countries, the way they're growing, which means that one coach cannot make such a big difference, right? If that is the case, then the head coach doesn't have the the right to say anything about it, right? Because overall growth has to be seen. Yes, he has also spoken that till under 17, under 20 national team doesn't do well. We have not qualified for the World Cups there. How do we expect that suddenly in the senior level we'll start do very good? So, but are we talking about Bangladesh doing better in those youth competitions? Whether Afghanistan doing better in those youth competitions? No. The minimum expectation is that at least in the key tournaments, which is the World Cup qualifiers and the AFC, we are able to beat our neighbors. That is the minimum requirement. We are not expected that we will, beat teams like Qatar. They are like top 40 in the world now, or beating Australia. Right now, we cannot expect. Yes, but obviously, we have to tell the boys, we have to tell the media that we can beat any team, because that's the way, any competition works. And let me tell you, federation on its own cannot handle everything. It's the whole stakeholders, and federation is one part of the stakeholders. Federation is there to handle the ecosystem, give them more competition, give them an unbiased platform where teams can play. There is an organization which is run by the federation. But to blame the federation and simple saying that there's a lot of politics, that's the easiest way to shut everyone, by saying that there's politics.
So one more thing, sir, that while we're speaking, I'd like to ask you is that, there were tall claims, that Igor made, that, there's power-hungry people in Indian football, it's never going to grow for the next 20 years. So how is it that, sir, from a sporting level, these are the accusations that are being made?
Well, India as a country has to be seen differently from how it works in Europe. Like, he comes from Croatia. How it works in Croatia might be different from how it works in India, firstly. Plus, it is, to be honest, when everything is going right, power never comes as a reason. Then it is always, the credit is taken by the head coach, right? That he has created a system which is working, and suddenly when we start losing, all the credit, all the discredit is given to the federation. So suddenly, what happens? That the system is not working, it is failing. So I personally feel that this concept of power, firstly, there is a technical committee in AIFF. Technical committee is headed by I.M. Vijayan. Now he's also blaming I.M. Vijayan that he might be a great footballer, but as a chairman of the technical committee, he's not good enough. So he should be replaced. So according to him, it seems like there is no one in AIFF or in any of the committees who's good enough. So where do we get the people from? End of the day, we have to find people from India who are good enough to run the federation. And through the federation, they create standing committees, out of which one standing committee is a technical committee. Technical committee right now has only ex-footballers, ex-national footballers. They are the ones who select the national team head coaches. So any problem which is there with the head coaches of the national team, they would obviously talk to the general secretary, who right now acting general secretary is Satya. or else they will also talk to the technical committee. Now him to blame that it is they're power hungry, because he might also say that now the next elections are due, maybe once the Supreme Court it declares it, or if it goes as per the constitution, it will happen after 4 years, so which is in 2026. So now they are working how to handle their votes. But let me tell you again, did he mention that the team which was selected was wrong? In none of his allegations, he has mentioned that the players who were selected for the national team was not the ones which he wanted. I don't think so. He's alleging that, which means that the player selection was right, according to him. So which means that he got the right pool of players. So he was given the freedom to get the right pool of players. So if they were power hungry, then definitely, in power, this politics comes where they say, okay, you can take these many players, but these many players would be, we feel that these are good players, you should take them. But has he alleged that? I don't think so. In any of the articles, he is not alleging that the quality, that the player selection was also a problem. But for him to allege that if they're power hungry, I mean, in what capacity is he saying that power hungry people didn't make him work the way he wanted? Yes, he said that the GPA system was not there, the analyst he wanted, so is he saying that in the last 5 years he was not able to get the GPA system? He was not able to get the analyst? He's been with the national team 5 years. No, according to my understanding, I might be wrong, but no head coach of national team has been there for so long, as much as this head coach has been there. So what does it mean? So I feel that he doesn't have that many justification to show that the federation, few people in federation are only working for power. On the other side, I feel that Kalyan Chaubey is very accessible, which is very, very important for a president to be. Even though I am the president of the state, still I feel that now all the state association presidents or the secretaries, they are they can easily talk to him, can all easily give their opinion, and he is willing to take those viewpoints and put it in the right forum. So I feel that from a president point, that is well covered. And then the country is not run by the president. Country is run by as I said, by all the stakeholders, whether it is executive committee of AIFF, or whether it is the standing committees of AIFF, or whether it is the at state level. We have to, again, are we doing a lot on grassroots football? That is a separate issue, which I think when Igor says that under 17, under 20 teams have not performed, but let me tell you, under 17 are reaching to the final qualifying round, and we are consistently reaching there, which maybe 6 years back or 8 years back we never used to reach. So that has improved. Now it is only a matter of time that when we will be able to go through the quarterfinals and qualify for the under 17. So yeah, I think power, it's never, it's not like one person dictating the term. It is, the committees are made and the committees take a call. Yes, if they are not able to understand, then the executive committee comes into play. They, the president, the vice president, the secretary general, they all, because at the end of the day, it's about national integrity. It's not about one person. It's not about one player. It's not about those 22 players who are playing in the national team. It's about 1.4 billion population for whom they are playing.
Understood. And he mentions that he had quite a few medical issues during his tenure as the coach. So do you think being the head of the Indian football team is that much of a pressurized job?
Well, I feel that whenever you become a head coach of a national team, whichever national team, the pressure will be always there. And he's been the head coach of the Croatian national team. In that era where Croatia was consistently in the top 10 of the world. And if you see his profile, I don't think so he's been able to stay in any whether it was a national team or whether it was a club team, more than 1 year or 18 months. But it is only in India national team he has been there for over 5 years, which means that there was far better bonding between him and the country and the federation. Igor has been a top footballer himself. He was in the, if I'm not wrong, he was in the finalist team when Croatia in 1998. So he's been a top player. So he's gone through that pressure, and so they know how to handle pressure. And when it comes to his medical problem, I think we don't know what medical problem he had when he joined Indian national team. So maybe he already had some medical problem, which he was not aware. So I personally feel that connecting personal medical problems to the stress levels which one has to go through when you are heading the national team is two different things. And it's not for Igor, it's for any head coach. If he or she cannot take the pressure of a national team, then I think they are not ready to be a national team head coach. And let me tell you, when he wins, or when a country wins, the kind of support and the praise he would get, I think it'll be at the highest, compared to any country in the world. So from that angle, it's both sides. I completely disagree that these kind of medical problems happen due to increased stress levels when you are heading a national team.
International level, we have a coach of a nationalized football team, going against the country's federation. Do you think Indian football is, at stake over here? We're the ones getting hurt at the end of the day, the larger picture.
Their termination was wrongful, then that I don't know legally. But from a football point, I think this had to be done. And now whichever new head coach comes, again, time will tell how he will be able to structure the team. As now Sunil has also left, and now so he'll have to find or get the new number 9 from the existing. And it all will, according to me, not that Igor has been sacked and Sunil has retired. Indian football is in a better hand. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that now this coming 4 years we will see young players coming up and becoming or taking or trying to take their trying to create their own image as the new number 9 or the new number 10, because right now in our national team there won't be any superstar. So I feel that when there is no superstar in a national team, the team becomes a superstar. And when a team becomes a superstar, then we perform. According to me, right now, I believe that whichever head coach we take, let us make the team as a superstar. Let us not make the head coach as a superstar. Let us not make the captain as a superstar. Everyone is there to do their duty. But when we don't have one superstar, when we have all the players as superstar playing together, then I'm telling you, we need that. And then, and I can see that there will be less politics inside the team, because everyone is trying to create that image for themselves. So they have to play together.
Thank you, sir, for your insights on this entire thing that has happened, and it actually helps for Indians to see the other side of the story, like you earlier mentioned. So, any signing off notes, sir, that you'd want to give, sir, for people watching this or for fans of the Indian football team, of what's next for us and where do we go from here?
Well, one thing I want to tell all the genuine country lovers and football fans, that we have to focus at all levels. We should not only focus at a senior national team level, we should also focus at an under 17 and under 20 and an under 23 level, because we start performing at this age category, the world would start looking at our players for signing, because 16 plus you can sign a professional contract. So under 17 is the first phase where the world wants to see how India is doing. So my urge is to the federation that under 17 we have to qualify for the World Cup, because we qualify for the World Cup, the biggest of clubs will come and look at our talent and hopefully sign some of the players for their club competitions. That is where India would start connecting with the top football in the country, in the world. I would say that this in the coming 2 years, I under 17 and under 20 teams would be performing far better than what we have performed in the last 6-8 years, and that's where we will know how well our grassroots football has taken place in the last 6 to 8 years, and because that would come as the outcome of the 6 to 8 years of hard work. you know if we perform at under 17 and under 20, then I can promise that in 2030 World Cup, we will have a good chance of, very very good chance of definitely qualifying for the third qualifying round of the World Cup, which we failed this time, and that will be the first big step for us to come close to qualification for the World Cup, Senior World Cup. So I would say that from 24 to 28, these 4 years would be very, very important years of Indian football.
Understood, sir. Yes, sir. I think that's about it. We have it. Thank you so much, sir, again for taking out the time and speaking to us and sharing your comments. And looking forward to newer things in Indian football, sir, like you mentioned.